Okay, outside the boxers. This week is a little different. So with what's been going on in my life, I want to testify to that. Plus, what's going on in the world, I want to give you a kind of a rundown of what you should be looking for and looking well, not positively forward to, but preparing yourself for. So I want to testify to God's goodness as He has been putting me through my paces, and all the things that I've been offloading onto you. I just want to say how it's working out in my life is just absolutely amazing. I'm living my life in peace, and one of the huge things is perspective change, because as my perspective has changed, the way I would generally react to things is completely different. So I'm not overreacting, and I'm not stressing, I'm not worrying, I'm not anxiety. The depression is non-existent. So if you do God's program, it actually works. I'll let you know that. So in my life, I'm living my life in peace, and and it like they say, it's like a heavy burden's been lifted off. Jesus' yoke is light, not always easy, because the choices I had to make to get there, the sacrifices I had to make to get there, are not easy. But the yoke is light because the burden is just uplifted, and it's I'm walking around light. Okay, and the thing is when your perspective is changed, you're not viewing bad things in your life as bad anymore, and you can see the positive parts of your life better. Okay, and also these things are going to become more imperative in as we move forward. And if you look into where things are going, if you have eyes to see it, it's imperative that we just really start moving and operating in faith. There was a person that gave a testimony today that one of their friends had seen something and then saved them from it, and then revealed what they had seen, and because they were obedient to God, they were saved. And so it's I don't want to get into great details because that's their story to tell, but we're going to see more and more of this in our lives if we're open to being obedient to God, being willing to make the sacrifices that we need to make or we should already be making. If we're dying to our flesh, as we die to our flesh, it actually gets easier to make them decisions. And like I said, with my life being lighter and not having that burden, it makes them decisions easier. So, also the warning I want to give, and it's nice that my schedule is kind of caught up to current. That because this is kind of time sensitive. That as we see what's going on in Canada with Convoy, and they're talking about coming down through into DC, and I have friends in the food distribution industry, and you put the information together, along with all the COVID spending and the inflation where we're starting to see the beginnings of the hyperinflation that's coming. Okay, so the prices are not going to go back down. If you're waiting for the food prices to go back down, it's not happening. But, in addition to the cargo ships, being left out into the ocean like they were, and now this convoy, where our infrastructure for getting food to grocery stores is getting light. And so it is. I'm imploring you with all wisdom, go out and stock up your food. There's just no easier way to say it than just go and do it. It's important, just do it. We all like to say, oh, well, we like me, I live check to check. But guess what? Once in a while, I'll rob Peter to pay Paul. This is the time to do that before the food gets too short or gets too expensive. And we enter into a day where a loaf of bread costs a day's wages. You don't want to be the person out on the street begging. Beans and rice. It's all you truly need. It's filling. It's nutritious enough that you can survive on it. And it's cheap and it stores easily and well. Get you a tote, fill you full of it. And it's that simple, and it's not that expensive. A year ago, I had heard that, we're going to start seeing these things. Oh, well, I just spent $100 on this stuff. And I got a tote full of it. I could live off of that for months. So get yourselves ready. But the thing, the more important part is we're not battling against flesh and blood. We're battling in the supernatural. Put the Ephesians 6 armor on. Realize that we're coming into a battle against the principalities of the enemy, and just have your heart and your mind prepared for this, and just get your relationship right with God. If there isn't a time more important to do that than now, just because you want to have enough faith built up in you that when the food does get short, and after our stockpile is gone or dwindling, that we just go over to it and like Jesus did with the bread and fishes, and say, multiply, supply my needs and my neighbor's needs. How blessed would you be to be in that position? That your neighbor's been starving for a couple of weeks and he comes over and you just got a couple of grains of rice and a couple of beans left, and you say, Father God, let it come forth. And you got enough to feed that neighbor and then some. Come on, people. We're coming into a day and an hour where we're just going to see miracles that you just won't even be able to comprehend. Because Jesus said we're going to do more than what we've seen done in the Bible. Go forth, be blessed, and be a blessing.